There are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
Well, I last night heard from the leadership that they wanted me to contact the White House and state that my statements were inappropriate. I did. I'm very grateful that the White House, in talking with them, they indicated that they appreciated the call and that we needed to have a civil discussion.
The leadership told me to call and apologize, so I've done it, damn it, basically. Well, that's an apology.
Well, for the record, though, members are not allowed to call the president a liar, hence we learned that, nor can you call him a hypocrite.
When any efforts to help people in need are attacked as un-American, when facts and reason are thrown overboard and only timidity passes for wisdom, and we can no longer even engage in a civil conversation with each other over the things that truly matter, but at that point, we don't merely lose our capacity to solve big challenges. We lose something essential about ourselves.
I don't know about this one, because I think that, and I don't know Mr. Wilson, I respect anybody who gets elected to the House. It's a hell of an achievement. I think he knew he could get away with it. I think he knew when he did it, it wasn't impulsive. Then to speak out so that you could be heard by the nation was a deliberate decision, I would argue, and I think he knew it would sell in South Carolina, and I know his leadership, he knew at the time the leadership would let him off the hook on this.
Today, it's all about what some are calling, David, the elephant in the room.
That's right, Tamron. President Obama is the first ever African-American to hold the nation's highest office, and now he's the first president to be openly heckled during an address to a joint session of Congress. Mr. Obama has been compared to Hitler at town hall meetings where some people showed up with loaded guns. Conservative radio and TV hosts have called him a racist with, quote, a deep-seated hatred for white people. The president has had his birth in Hawaii and his nationality questioned, and he's been called everything from a socialist to a fascist who wants to empower the government to kill senior citizens. This week, Mr. Obama was criticized for a speech to school kids about staying in school and working hard. Every president faces scathing criticism from the fanatical fringe, but this at least feels different. And even officials in the Secret Service acknowledge that threats to President Obama's life have been coming in 4 times as often as they were for President George W. Bush.
Within hours, you could order a "you lie" tie or a "you lie" cap. It turned the South Carolina Republican congressman who yelled it into a hero to some, Joe Wilson for president. But among those we talked to...
Oh, I think it's disgusting.
Really is totally disgraceful.
We have to get to the point where we can have a conversation about big, important issues that matter to the American people without vitriol, without name-calling, without the assumption of the worst in other people's motives.
Yes. We are losing our country. We think the Muslims are moving in and taking over. We do not believe our president is a Christian, and he led us to believe that. Our president is a liar. God bless Joe Wilson.
Tens of thousands of Americans gathered here in the nation's capital over the weekend for a rally intended to return the country to the mindset it had on the day after the September 11th attacks. A day when, according to the website of the 9/12 Project, quote, we were not obsessed with red states, blue states, or political parties. We were united as Americans. A reminder of the brain trust who brought us Saturday's Intolerance Festival in the first place.
We weren't told how to behave that day after 9/11. We just knew it was right. It was the opposite of what we feel today. Let us find ourselves and our solutions together again with the 9 founding principles and the 12 eternal values. This is the 9/12 Project.
Are you ready to be that person that you were that day after 9/11 on 9/12? I told you for weeks, you're not alone. I'm turning into a frickin' televangelist.
On 9/12/2001, did the people of this nation compare George W. Bush to Hitler? Lenin, Stalin, and Fidel Castro? On 9/12/2001, did anyone not affiliated with Al-Qaeda threaten the president's life? Did they denigrate the ancestry and skin color of President Bush while calling him a liar? How about a blood-sucking alien? Or an illegal alien? Or the devil? On 9/12/2001, did a pro-life organization in its mass production of signs try to unite the country by using the death of a senator to bury any piece of legislation? Not only is it unthinkable to imagine similar signs in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, it is difficult to believe any politician affiliated with a major political party would condone such behavior. Not so the Republican Party of 2009. Georgia Congressman Tom Price and Phil Gingrey were in attendance, as was Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn. South Carolina Senator Jim DeMint even addressed the crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Waterloo. My friends, I join you today not as a U.S. Senator, but as a fellow freedom-loving American. I'm not here to speak to you, but to stand with you. And to join my voice with yours. It is time that the President and the Congress stop lecturing us and start listening to us. Too many Americans have fought and died for our freedom. For us to give it away with apathy and silence. This is a critical battle for the heart and soul of America and for freedom itself.
One man saving freedom is another man's fomenting of hatred. Senator DeMint also claimed that the attendees were a cross-section of America. If by cross-section he meant white, whiter, and whitest.
We're truly concerned about the heartbeat of our country. They're taking our liberties away. It's tyranny. It's a Gestapo type tactic.
There's too much involvement in the government. We can take care of ourselves.
I didn't vote for him, but I didn't necessarily have anything against what he was saying. He gets into office and it's like all the things that I was kind of afraid of really happen.
They can have my country when they pry it from my cold, dead fingers.
And I think their agenda is to slowly but surely take away everything that we've worked for and everything the Constitution stands for.
Oh, we held the bill! Held the bill! Now! Bring the bill! Bring the bill! Section 32!
All the czars that he picked are all either communists or socialists.
I really don't want to be a guinea pig for the experiment they have with the population control.
He's going after our kids to try to indoctrinate them into a national defense army, and we're not going to let him do it.
We're kind of the ultimate check and balance, I suppose.
I don't want a revolution. I don't want a civil war. I would hate for that to happen. But it is a possibility. It's there as an option, as a last resort, should our government turn on its own people.
An overwhelming portion of the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man. Racism inclination still exists, and I think it's bubbled up to the surface because of a belief among many white people, not just in the South but around the country, that African Americans are not qualified to lead this great country.
I think there was strong sentiment among some African American members that this was a conservative white Southerner going after the first African American president in a highly public and disrespectful fashion.
You're allowed to challenge and criticize and disagree without being a racist. I mean, it's just such a waste of time.
It's right there. You're allowed to be angry.
You know, it makes me sad that people are being bigoted toward Joe Wilson and assuming because he heckled the president that he's a racist simply because he's from the South.
That's
we had Lawrence O'Donnell come on this show and denigrate an entire state where Joe Wilson is from, dredging up things from 100 years back, and that makes me sad. I hope this sort of bigotry and hatred, we can get past it.
What we want is to get back to the way our country was 100 years ago.